What's going on, YouTube? Michael here from 3D Print Everything, and I want to tell you why I think, believe, and it should be just a fact that these A1 Minis are not only more advanced, but just a better printer than even the Bambu P1S, which is 3 times the price, or at least a little bit more than double. So the A1 Mini came out after the P1S, so as far as like thinking about cell phones and how one cell phone might come out 6 months to a year later, how much newer technology would go into it, that's essentially what's happened here, as well as more engineering and thought into the design and like ease of use, really. So let me see if I can even list everything off, because this is a lot. But I'm gonna try to bring it down to just things that are different between the Bambu and the Mini that are like an upgrade. So if you already know about the Bambu, but you don't have a Mini, or you didn't know about these different changes, you'll be made more aware of it. All right, so let's see. I'm like, where do I even start? Because there's a lot. Obviously, we'll start with just differences that may or may not even be good. I'll just list them all off, because we know that if you're a friend of the channel, I sometimes just rant. So first off, and I'm going to mention a bunch of things that it's doing here too. Obviously, the poop system is different. So the poop system knocks off the side here. I don't think this is any better or worse than the Bambu. Maybe I could make the argument that it is a little bit better, in that on the P1S, sometimes I've had the filament get, I know, one of these, I've got my phone plugged in, so I'm going to try to, so on the Bambu, the filament, you can kind of see it there, will sometimes just not make it down the chute, and it builds up underneath here, and over time you've got to clean the bottom of your printer. Overall, not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. But this does just make a system that, like, the only thing I've ever happened is like vibration makes this move over. So not bad. Now, one thing I can note inside here, this will lead into our next one. These big blobs, we don't end up getting on the P1S. So these big blobs come from the flow calibration. So that's not an option that I see. Maybe the Bambu's doing that and someone can correct me, but from my understanding, every time you start a printer, I mean, and it's just a setting that pops up, every time you start a print on the A1 Mini, you can tick flow calibration. Now I'm just doing that every time because honestly I'd rather waste a little bit of filament and know that, at least the next coming up filament is tuned as close as it could be, because sometimes you get patches of filament that they're I don't know, it's like they can just get messed up. Like, I just bought 4 rolls of filament and all 4 jammed to these machines, and this is a part of the reason why I'm even making this video, because I learned more about the machine that surprised me. So one other thing I want to point out is the fan curve. If you listen to the A1 Mini right now, it's quiet. And at some point we might hear the fans turn all the way on. Right now it's printing PLA, and on just about every other printer and tune that I know of, the fan is just blasting at full speed. But apparently the engineers at Bambu, who have printed probably as much or more than me for how much they've tuned this profile, figured out that, on average, you only need the fan running at like maybe 25%. That actually makes for a quieter experience, which is really nice. And it's going to make your fans last longer. So that's like 2 really big positives right there. But when it is needed, like when it's doing bridging, like when it's connecting, that circle there, and when it's in certain other areas, you'll hear it kick on at full speed. And it's a radial fan kind of hidden in the back there. Which also is offsetting the weight just a little bit, but so that's really neat. Getting to see this is also a really good upgrade. That's something that's not on the P1S, just getting to see this rotate, because if you have an issue, you'll literally get a visual of it jamming. Um, Although you'll also see the issue here, but you can catch that initially. So if you're hearing it tick, 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 and you're seeing this thing like, just like, you'll know that there's an issue there. So you have a visual to go with it. Now what it's doing right there, that's the time lapse. So it does a nice time lapse where it goes over to the side, and it has a camera right there that then takes a photo for the time lapse. What else is better? Okay, we'll mention the AMS right now. So the AMS, I haven't tried the other one, so I'll only mention just what I've heard, is the AMS for the P1S series tends to have a hard time with carbon fiber, with cardboard rolls. Something about the edge of the cardboard rolls causes issues and whatnot, but here it grabs from the center instead of resting on it, and that makes this a better experience. And in a rare case, you might have rolls like this, which are so big and wide that they don't really grab right there. So that's lame. Okay, one of the other more advanced things. This is a big one that surprised me. Oh, see, my hand just got caught there. Hopefully that didn't mess it up. The firmware and software in these guys will warn you and tell you when it's time to lube your rails, which that's something the P1S doesn't do. So this, I'm sure it's either based on time and or print hours, is like, hey, it's time to lube your rails, and it'll tell you. It'll either be after a print or after I come over. You know, like I could click, let's just say okay on this. I want to talk about this for a second. You know, you click okay, and then the next screen will say, hey, it's time to lube your rails. And then, you know, you can give it a little light wipe down if you see that there's some trash on it, and then you lube your rails. Now here, I wanted to talk about this. This is another nice thing. You can report flaws if you want. So if you click on that, you know, you can scan this. This form is collecting for flaws only. If you require assistance, you know, make a ticket. So you can do that. I've never made a ticket, so I don't know what it's like, but I also know printers in and out really well, so I've never really needed to go to customer service. And if I have a printer that's unfixable, I'd rather just replace it than try to fix it, really. But I do fix a bunch of printers, or have in the past, so you can just click OK there. You know, it has this neat little assistant, which is kind of cool. So this is, you know, kind of giving you this AI assistant feeling, or at least this is like your printer error codes. So the assistant is a nice friendly way of, you know, making it feel like this printer is working with you rather than like you're just reading your engine codes that went bad. So I like the vibe that they're giving you with this. You know, like this looks not only professional and goes well in a you know, a production setting, a lab setting, you know, a lab setting straight up, you know, a commercial setting, but it also looks friendly enough that this can go in your kid's room and it's not going to be like super intimidating and scary. Like it's still soft. You know, everything's round. Everything is you know, you don't have sharp edges anywhere but like, you know, right there. Like everything has been thought about and rounded. Like I've experienced some of these that are just razor sharp, and if you do this, you know, you would cut yourself. But look, I can run my hand all across that and I'm not going to cut myself. The build quality, excellent. You know, build quality of the P1S, I would say is is still just as good or you know, on par. What's the other thing? Okay, so this is a big one, and if you saw my other video on this, you'll know where I'm going with it. But look, this is how you replace the nozzle. Boom. Take out, here, let me show it on this one because I don't have any filament in it. But look at this. So you just take off this right here, and then you'll click it to make sure you don't have any filament. You take your sock off like this, and then you look, it's a spring, so you just It's a little latch. Take that latch off, and then you grab the heatsink, and boom, that's your nozzle. The heating element and temp sensor are here, and they're not even having you put any anything on it, like no thermal grease. I mean, maybe we could, maybe that would give it a little bit more thermal recognition, but I mean, honestly, if this is good enough and it's been printing excellent, which it has been, and this is how they tuned it, then leave it. Don't put thermal grease, you know, that might kind of throw off the baseline settings. But look, that is done. I mean, that is how quick you can switch a nozzle out, you know, presuming that it's cool. Like if you get a jammed nozzle, let it cool, and then boom, you're done. You've got a whole new, like, that's how fast you can do a nozzle replacement. Like, how fast was that? Like 60 seconds one-handed? Like, that is ridiculous. That's way better. Okay, what else is better? Yeah, so the fan curve, there was a couple other things I was thinking. I mean, it's just like those things are excellent. Like, they're so nice, and they make such a difference. So the flow calibration is a big one. The easeability of changing a nozzle, big one. The fan curve, big one. The assistant, see, like, what is this telling me? Look, see, it's giving me a little deal. Hey, the AMS filament has run out in a slot. So, like, how neat is that? Like, and you can tell because he's unhappy. The vibe of the assistant, the screen, I'm probably forgetting one or two things at least. But, I mean, the price, it's $250. You know, and that was a come down from $300. Even $300 was a good deal, but $250, you know, made it match the King Rune series and other ones that are at this size. This is, I mean, this definitely, it just made me a further believer in this brand and why it's awesome. So, just some of my thoughts on why these Bambus are awesome and why, when, you know, you look at my fleet of operational printers, it's those two over there, which are now used probably less than 5% of the time. They just printed that, and I was kind of unhappy with the print. Those four, and we've got 5 of these guys. I'll probably wind up getting more of the A1 Mini. We're probably, like, if I could just double everything right now, that would be fantastic. If I get another 4 of those, that I could clean all that junk out, you know, that'd be great. But anyways, guys, thanks for checking out the video, and we will see you in the next one.